that too.
Yeah, so you agree that it's possible that you're a brain in a vat, MJ, metaphysically.
Say it again. Sorry.
Metaphysically possible. Is metaphysical, even if you think it's false, is it possible? See, because I'm not saying
it's metaphysically.
No, I agree, and I think it's metaphysically. So this is why it gets kind of. So I
when you say something's metaphysically impossible, you're appealing to some kind of like metaphysical theory that excludes this possibility.
Right.
You might have like different metaphysical theories that are bringing to bear on the question. So someone might think it's metaphysically possible while another.
Wait, why is a theist like, or a Christian, right? Why would they want to say that it's metaphysically impossible? Because like,
I don't think all Christians.
Don't you want to say that, like, wouldn't theists usually say that the brain could be given certain stimuli to make it think it's experienced something that it isn't? In such case, right, then you could just be hooked up to something.
Yeah, but you could say that God would prevent it too.
But like everyone would acknowledge that there are like dreams and hallucinations and stuff, right?
Yeah, but
where
God,
you think you're in a situation that you're not.
Okay, but how does that answer my response?
Because then it was like they wouldn't think it's metaphysically impossible because like things actually happen, in which case people believe that they're experiencing things that they're not.
You're dodging. Yeah, and people make claims that they're wrong about. That was I wasn't talking.
No, just to jump.
That claim itself could be wrong.
I want him to answer the question.
I think like simulating dreams maybe is a little different, like concocting the required technology you need to.
Well, I also said, MJ, I also said like hallucinations, right? Because like one time when I was a kid, I had a surgery, right? I was on painkillers, and I literally thought I was like experiencing my normal everyday life at home when I was miles away. Like I was playing with my dogs, getting ready for school, shit. Like it was completely real. But I was like in a hospital bed, hooked up to hooks.
Yeah, I wouldn't deny that.
But Andrew, is there like a real controversial question you would like to ask me? You tried to get me to affirm.
You just agreed with me. You just said it's possible. You agreed now that it's possible that you're a brain in the vat.
Hypothetically, but not possible given the data.
What the fish?
Which is completely different.
The point is the data could be fabrications. Like you agree to that.
Hypothetically, but not possible given the data?
That's hypothetical.
So you think it's hypothetically possible, but not possible given the data?
Yeah, because we have data that points to the
On the
contrary.
hypothesis that you have different data, maybe.
And so if all the data is pointing to the contrary of this, you can say.
I'm saying the world as it is, MJ. I'm saying the world as it is. Is it the case that it's possible?
Do you have full access to all the data?
That's going to bring an epistemic modality again, yeah. You don't have full access.
I'm talking about epistemic modality, then I'm talking about metaphysical modality.
Well, I asked him if it's metaphysically possible.
But I was hoping, Andy, you would ask me like one of these, like.
Wait, why did you ask him about metaphysics?
Like.
Well, because he said he has metaphysical commitments that rule out the possibility of being a brain in that.
But like,
why is he bringing up metaphysics?
Well, I wanted to know what his metaphysical commitment is, and he hasn't explained that. And now he has just said,
no, but why is metaphysics even a conversation here? Like, this is an epistemic issue.
Right, yeah, how do you know? How do you know you're not a brain event? Yeah.
Right.
Well, when it comes to epistemics, I would say that, well, I'm not sure where I exactly want to fit on this particular plane. I think epistemic evidentiary would be where I prefer, and so if you're looking at the evidence, and there's no evidence or
evidence is part of like epistemology.
Within this,
epistemology.
Yeah, I said that wrong because I was eating a fruit roll up and I bit my tongue.
Then you would not want to say that it's possible given the data. But if you're saying, okay, could the data be wrong? You can hypothetically, but when you go back to the question, is it possible, well, given the data? there's no probability behind it.
Like, even if you have the right data, though,
But,
you're
like-
infallible. It's just so fucking stupid.
No, but like any metaphysics, right? Like basically your epistemology is gonna like underdetermine any metaphysics. Like, you know, like when you talk about metaphysics, you're just talking about the way the world is, right? And the question is, how do you know the world is the way that is that way, right?
You gotta tell a story.
Story.
Could your knowledge about the way the world is be wrong on this issue, James? And if it, and it sounds like you want to say
Are you
yes.
infallibilist or you're not?
Given the data, no.
No, but the question is how you know the data is correct.
Well, I think that there's certain things that
Are you certain it's correct?
You just say you don't know that the data's correct.
Please don't obfuscate, James, please.
Jesus.
Well, no, I think I have a fundamental belief that the data is correct. I wouldn't
Yeah, but
object to it.
No, but the question is the question is not whether you believe that. The question is why you believe that.
I even question whether the data even says that. I don't even think you know what the. You're just like fuck. You're just speculating. What do you know?
You gotta tell a story about the data that the skeptic
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
appropriate.
Well, it's more not really about the data, more about like the justification for believing in that data.
Yeah.
Yeah, what Piper's saying is like you need epistemic certainty for it to be metaphysically impossible.
Oh, I'm not saying anything about metaphysics. I'm saying for it to be epistemically impossible in the sense that, like, your knowledge of it is infallible, right? You need epistemic certainty. I didn't say anything about metaphysics. I'm saying metaphysics doesn't matter.
That applies to the metaphysical claim. I know what you mean.
So it applies to the issue of how you know certain metaphysical claims are true, but
That's
metaphysical is its own modality independent of epistemic modality.
That's right. Yeah. It's like
So,
the burden is like, how does the seeming right get you epistemic certainty?
Yeah.
so when I was reading more, and it's possible that and I know I haven't read everything by Moore, but he's very clear that, like, and when you're entertaining these skeptical scenarios,
Oh boy.
that you need to have, like, if they're not putting forth a claim, even though, like, a question with a proposition that's perceived true is an indirect claimant, even if that's the case, and they're not putting forth the, why are you considering something that just seems on the face of this? And I don't see any reason to do
Please
that.
stop saying consider. Please quit saying the words entertain and consider. Please. Okay? Those are not the words that I'm using.
Yeah,
And I'm
so
not saying.
Andrew,
I'm
you
not
want to say
saying
something like
anything like that.
consider and entertain, like have like some
He
notion
knows
that you're
this.
undecided
He
about
knows
the
this.
truth of it,
He
right?
knows this. Not
No, I'm asking you. That's the way you're using it, right? Like
that the way
like,
he's using it, because I'm not.
that
using
means
it
like you're
way.
undecided about it,
The way
right? Like we
he's
can talk
using
about
it
things
is
we're
like
not
I'm
about.
giving serious consideration.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying this for James too, right?
Right. So the
Like
point is,
everyone here has decided that
he
it's not
knows
true.
this. Not Jude. He knows this. It's just a song and dance that he's doing. It's a rhetorical
Yeah,
flourish.
none of us are considering it in that respect.
And I've asked you to
If
quit
no one's
saying that.
considering it, then there's no real reason.
No,
Please
we're
stop
talking
saying
about
that.
it
Please
because
stop
of a
saying that.
different
Please
issue.
stop saying. Yeah. Please stop saying.
James is sucking me in.
Please stop saying that, and please stop saying the thing logical possibility. Stop saying that. Stop saying logical possibility. Stop saying entertain, and stop saying consider. Remove those from your. Just remove those. Do not say those anymore, please.
Well, because
This
you
is
guys
the whole of
agreed
the law.
that you're not C-wording this, then there's really no reason to
C wording this? What is C wording?
Considering,
Consider.
Oh.
we're not cunting this.
Wow. Look,
Thank you, Jude.
just James.
Whoa.
James, none of us are considering this. None
You're
of us
not
are
Australian
entertaining
enough
this.
for that, Jud.
Andrew, did you hear the nickname that they gave you? They were calling you Andrew.
Considering Andrew.
I know,
Is
but
this where he tries to deflect again?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Have you
That's
guys-
exactly what he's doing right now.
Have you guys heard of the the like Kantian metaphysics and the.
Oh my God.
Can you stop?
Wait. Race can say that?
You can't distract Andrew. Andrew's got like armor
actually,
for
you
that kind of
can.
bullshit.
Because he's
Yeah.
more Australian than you.
That's correct,
Okay, fair enough.
Jason. That's
Fair
correct.
enough, mate.
James, you just try
Got a
to.
common ancestor.
James, you're throwing up a wall of words. You're throwing up a lot of obfuscation. How do you know that it's the case that all your seemings and all the data and the scientific journals or whatever it is that you were reading, how do you know all that is not presentations from being a brain in a vat? How do you know that?
I already told you that I'm in between a foundationalism and rationalism. And given the rationalism that I'm using to look
What does
at
that
the
mean?
world around me,
Remember,
Do you know what
is he saying?
foundationalism
I'm not exactly
is
sure,
to
to be honest.
around? It's like your starting point. Either you have like there's rationalists, there's foundationalists.
No, rationalism isn't a starting point.
Coherentism, would that be the proper term, Piper?
Well, if that's what you mean by rationalism, I guess. But
That's one of the horns, at least.
the thing that the three positions that are relevant. Well, so the four positions you might say that are relevant to the Agrippa trilemma is foundationalism, or are foundationalism, positivism, coherentism, and infinitism.
Okay, so I'm just using like the really wrong word for coherentism. And this is why, like, I've often told, like, you know, Piper, I'm not the best at these philosophical subjects. I've never claimed to be the best.
That's fine.
But how does coherentism get you out of this brain in a vat problem?
Because he doesn't have any of those beliefs.
It doesn't seem coherent to consider even propositions without, like, any possibility. And when you look at the material world around us, when you look at these other things, you don't see any real possibility to consider these things. And the reason why I said I'm between that and foundationalism is, as a Christian, I would have went with probably pure foundationalism. You know, God is the foundation, and that God would correct any of these like underlying issues.
There's some like issues in the way you're thinking about this. Like, first of all, like if you chose coherentism or holism, they're going to be equal in respect to like skeptic scenarios like this, like relevant per se. And then like, so with coherentism, if you're saying like a brain in the vat is incoherent in my coherent web of beliefs, right? Because you may have a belief like the external world isn't true and you're not in the brain in the vat or something like. But then the warrant that you have towards the skeptical scenario being false is going to be as strong as your warrant in the external world being true. Like, and anything that negates the skeptical scenario, which is not going to. So it's like, because you don't have like super strong warrant for the external world, then you don't have the super strong warrant for the negation of it, which is a skeptical scenario.
Well, I think we were very obvious that there's an external world. I can touch things, I can move things, I can interact with other people who have the appearance of intelligence. Like, I don't see any reason to question the external world. But then when you start going into an external world might not exist, and you have to start building all these things into the possibility of a brain in a vat, it just doesn't seem to work from either a foundationalist view or a coherentist view. I just don't see any need to like really consider them.
The thing is, when you have this type of view, it's like you completely reject like idealism, which is like a perfectly viable horn of like metaphysics, or theory of the philosophy of mind.
Well, wait, so it seems like all these skeptical theories rely implicitly on correspondence theory, but no, they don't. Well, okay, here, let's see. Let me try
They
that.
do require like a realist theory, though, I think.
That's what I'm thinking about. So let's say hypothetically,
Questions are completely independent of metaphysics.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about metaphysics.
I think it's just the physics of truth is what correspondence is about. So.
Okay, but if a belief is because it works, then correspondence theory is kind of irrelevant. Like, okay, if I believe that I'm not a brain in a vat,
it's not relevant to what we're talking about.
and it works, it like stops you from being paralyzed or whatever, So then the belief is just true.
But the question just moves up to how do you know it works?
I just said like okay, if it doesn't paralyze you, but like it gives you a reason to.
How do you know anything about any of that stuff?
The thing is though, like with reliable like pragmatism.
Like you're not really getting that like the skeptical stuff is like an iterative like request for justification, right? Like you're just gonna like anything that you posit about the world that makes it the case such that you're right. They're just gonna ask you how do you know that. That includes like any conception of truth that you might marshal.
What if you just take it as an axiom?
That's called positivism, and I mean it is an answer. Whether it's a good answer is a different issue.
Pragmatic is also pragmatism, whatever you call it in English, is of that sort of a view. You just deny like correspondence and this like the skeptical.
Correspondence isn't relevant to this.
Again, it avoids the skeptical scenario, but in some might concede, some might say like it concedes.
But correspondence theory doesn't have to do with skeptical scenarios. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, skeptical scenarios applies to basically any theory of truth.
Skeptical scenarios are scenarios about whether there is external world or maybe.
Yeah, but like
The problems of
What about my
look, just look for a second, right? First of all, they're not just scenarios about that. That's external world skepticism. There's other kinds of skepticism. But the point about skepticism is how you know anything about the world, right? So if you like, you're just saying, oh look, truth is utility, right? It's not correspondence. That's just a metaphysical claim. They're gonna ask you how you know that too.
Hey, Piper, I do want to.
That type of skepticism, not like, oh, are you skeptical about morality? Are you skeptical about?
We're talking about skepticism and apologetics.
It's like.
I do want to clarify one thing, Piper. There should be like a group of people, maybe under the care of doctors, who are using certain drugs to consider a lot of these more crazy out there theories. And I think that should be encouraged.
I mean, look, you can go back in a time machine and tell like the academics and the Peronians that like you guys are fucking stupid. Like you can say that, right? But that doesn't address the epistemological problem, which is how we know anything, right?
I'm not saying that they're stupid, by the way.
I know, but you can just say like you can say like my point is just yes, obviously anybody who entertained the idea, right? That they were a brain in the vat, right? Anybody who entertains that, right, is probably crazy, right? Who entertains that seriously in the sense of like actually believing it, right? But then there's like a serious philosophical question about how we know things, right? Which brain in the vat scenarios are used to elucidate. And just saying that only a crazy person would believe in a brain in the vat scenario doesn't address that issue.
Well, no, I'm not saying that like a crazy person is like that. Like, maybe the drug comment came off as like snarky, but no, I'm saying that like there might be like a serious argument that people should do controlled substances and ponder a lot of these deep philosophical issues at the same time to expand that. I don't think that you should stop considering brain in a vat or even other like strange hypotheticals for philosophical possibility. No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay. I mean, to be clear, I think you probably shouldn't do drugs while you're thinking about this stuff because you should probably be clear-headed. Like, you know.
Well, sometimes some of the most mind-bending thoughts and things that have been contributed to like the human environment and our awe of the world have been direct respondents of being on drugs or tied to drugs. And so I'm saying in this medical environment, like for example, we wouldn't have things like the great songs by Nirvana.
Oh my God.
If he was not on drugs. We wouldn't have things like Jimi Hendrix.
That contributes to understanding reality.
Well, you can, like, I think that reality also is pondering, like, some crazy shit with your buddies in the backyard sometimes.
What does that have to do with brain in the vat? Well, possibility.
Well, no one's saying like a real possibility. Like, no one's saying you should honestly believe it, but why not? Why not? What's wrong, Michaela, with getting high and
Well,
considering
that has nothing to
possibility
do.
of bringing
Yeah,
that?
fine.
What's wrong
But that
with
has nothing to
Michaela?
do with discussions that Andrew is having with you.
And what do you mean by real possibility? Oh, it's not a real possibility. It's possible, but it's not a real possibility.
Who are you asking?
I'm asking James, not you. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, are you challenging my view on controlled substances, Jason, and considering strange possibilities? Okay, then we're in agreement there.
No,
I have
but
to
you
go
said.
grab this order real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Who came up with like the quietism stuff? You know, like I forget who, but I think some of this stuff, like the skeptical scenarios,
It's contested,
they are.
and I'm kind of quiet on
What?
who really did it.
Oh no, it's something more like you know, like a Griffith's trilemma. You know, the reason why there's a Griffith's trilemma is because we're just like, we're not like you're not like you know, connecting the rubber with the road. You know, the stuff there's like no applicability in the real world, so you should just like throw it out or something.
Why does everyone call it a Grippers trilemma when I first heard of it for a long time as the Munchausen's trilemma?
Well, the name Agrippa's trilemma goes back to the fact that the Pyrrhonian skeptics would appeal to the something of Agrippa, the ways of Agrippa or something like that. When people asked them, or when people were trying to establish that they, that they could take a position on certain questions, and that was just like, basically the straightforward questions about, well, how do you know that X and blah blah blah, and like getting it into that iterative chain of, asking how do you know X.
Was that like prior to Munchausen's? Is it a better way of...
Well, that was ancient philosophy. I'm not sure where the Munchausen thing came from.
Remnants. Munchausen is because, like, Baron Munchausen, the guy who tried to pull himself up by his own bootstraps, which is what, like, the claim. Well, which is kind of related to the dilemma, right? Like, how are you supposed to, like, have a foundation for epistemology? Any solution seems like it's going to be like pulling yourself off the bootstraps. At least, like, maybe okay, the coherence toward the coherence theory or something, right? Like, will be like that. That's the idea.
Yeah, I just checked. Munchausen comes from 1968. It's about a guy on a horse pulling himself out of a swamp by his own like bootstraps. But yeah, it's based on some guy taking the Agrippa's trilemma and renaming it.
Funny story. Like when you say that your computer is booting up, that actually is a reference to bootstrapping, which comes from the same.
Said that guy, yeah.
What?
But yeah, why would that be? Why would it be boot? As in, like, is there something about
booting.
Yeah, like, is there something about the initial loading of stuff that's interesting in like a bootstrap sense?
Yeah, because like when you're like imagine like an operating system that's already like executing, right? It has like all these fancy like it has like a kernel, it has like file systems, everything is loaded and ready to go, right? But like a program that's booting up has none of that, right? There isn't like a file system. Nothing is set up, right? So it somehow has to like start from scratch and install all of that, right? So that boot program can't just be like an ordinary like program that runs on an OS. It has to do everything by itself. That's fine.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So also in Nargiss's theology, right, bootstrapping is the process by which like God created the universe.
I'm just not gonna get this. It's too late a joke.
Damn, shots fired.
I learned that
I learned today that Nagas likes Patek Philippe's.
Nagas might be one of the most smartest people in this room, or in this app in general.
What do you think about that area?
The simp is strong.
I think it's pretty clear the smartest person here is Millith.
There's going to be a consensus on that.
Now, Andrew might be one of the most angry people, but he wasn't always angry.
Right. What's up,
Why?
Rich?
Yo, what's up, Victoria?
Did you know that it's epistemically impossible?
I think it's epistemically impossible.
Detroit, would you help us out with James?
Impossible and logically possible.
Detroit, would you help us out with James, like trying to make sense of like being a brain in a vat, like his objections to like not considering it, you know, hands therefore hands, that sort of stuff.
You heard R. Descartes' argument?
R. Descartes.
Well, the Detroit and I have already heard this. He takes some different view from me, but I don't know. Maybe I should consider, like Detroiter said, that he believes that there's more evidence for the flat Earth than the Exodus. So maybe I should consider Detroiter's perspective. Maybe I'm not giving him a fair shake on that.
Do you think that that's some tension or something, James? And do you think that pointing that out is like somehow?
Well, he pointed out to trigger you, obviously.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if he thinks there's any kind of actual work that's doing by saying that, apart from just being, trying to incite me, do you think that does anything by
There's
pointing
no work that it's doing besides.
Yeah. So, James, how do you know that you aren't a brain in the vat, or you couldn't be a brain in the vat? How do you?
I think we've talked about this quite a bit.
Can you answer the question?
Are you
It should sound like this. It should sound like this. I know it because.
Are you
You know what
because?
because?
Like Andrew, I've already answered this to you several times.
Oh, really?
It's
I'll hear what.
It's like the definition of insanity to ask the same question over and
Not the
over again
definition of insanity.
and expect a different result.
Yeah, Andrew, get right.
Like if I answered it and you're not happy, and then I answered the same way again and you're not happy, and I answered the same way again and you're not happy, and you keep trying it, that is insanity.
That's not the definition of insanity.
Doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah, that just came from, that was Einstein, like, making that statement. It's not the definition of insanity.
It is, however, the definition of linsanity.
It does seem to follow.
That's a callback.
Yeah, it follows.
It doesn't
remember
make sense.
Like a bad Deepak.
Imagine you're playing roulette, right?
Does no one remember linsanity?
3 losses in a row.
No.
You expect a different result.
You know too much obscure shit. No.
Yeah.
Which is both a positive and a negative.
Oh, you jerk.
Well, Andrew has found this one thing that he can mock and at me about, and he's going to continue to mention it over and over again because it gives him enjoyment.
I'm not mocking.
And I'm
And I came up with it. I'm not. No.
Andrew, you keep
You're not
bringing it
gonna
up
refrain,
whenever
buddy.
I'm
You're
in
not
the
gonna
room
refrain.
because it
Andrew,
gives you enjoyment.
Detroiter
You're
just
not
spoke.
going to refrain.
Maybe
You're
we
not
should
gonna
let
refrain.
Detroiter talk instead of you two.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Detroiter talk. Detroiter, I would like you to meet James. He says that he knows he's not the brain of that. He's gonna mock you.
Oh, nice to
His
meet you,
name James is tired.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, he's gonna mock you if you think that it's possible that you're a brain in a vat.
I'm
But
not
if you ask
gonna
him
I do want to clarify.
Stop!
I want to clarify one thing for Detroiter. But Detroiter, like, since you just met James, you can see his title is James is Tired. That is actually his identity.
So he is tiredness itself.
That's right.
Oh, it's been really nice talking to you guys, but I'm feeling really
James is the concrete universal of tiredness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Detroit, they want you and I to discuss branding a vat for a few moments.
Okay.
So let's start off with what we agree on. Logical ability, we agree, correct?
We agree that it's logically possible?
Yeah.
Sure.
And we agree that looking at other real world possibilities, that it's hypothetically possible, right?
What do you mean by hypothetically possible?
What's a real world possibility?
Meaning that, like, if you're looking at metaphysics, hypothetically, you could come up with something that it could be true. Are we there so far?
I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but sure.
Well, maybe restate it smarter than what I'm trying to say. And then how about you make a statement, and then I'll tell you if I agree.
Because like I'm not really sure what you're trying to get at, so I don't know what to say.
Okay. So I guess the hinge of the argument is that I don't believe, given the data, that it's a real world possibility that we're a brain in a vat. And the data is, there's some papers that I've read where they're talking about from scientific communities and people who are examining this and studying it and saying that it's not possible now, and they don't believe that it's going to be possible in the future, given building the premise of like brain in a vat is that it's like a world that's like ours in every conceivable way, but there's not any kind of distinguishable difference.
I've read the papers, by the way. Like, James is right.
Yeah.
Check.
Right. If all you're saying is that current and any future technology, given sort of what we know about technology and physics and so on, wouldn't be enough to like achieve that, like have a brain in a vat, but where like had the same sort of experiences as us. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I think this is probably wrong in two ways. So one, I don't find it very plausible that could never be achieved. But two,
Okay.
even if it couldn't be achieved, given sort of what we know about physics and or technology and so on, so what? That could be an artifact of what the brain in the vat experience is like. And the technology apart from the vat is much more advanced. So I don't see why that would rule out that there's something like that going on. It'd be like saying, well, our physics rules out things like that sometimes. But that's something that is shown in our experience. That's something that's being fed to us, not necessarily something that's true of the outer world.
Yeah, but Detroit, have you considered the fact that scientists have shown that, like, in fact, our mental states are critically influenced by our gut macrobiome or microbiome, right? So a brain in a vat wouldn't have access to the gut microbiome, so it's just not possible.
Okay, yeah.
That's right.
Let James respond.
So it just seems that we just disagree, and I just take them at the face value that they're saying that it doesn't seem possible. In the future, they're saying that it's not possible now, and that just seems to be the disagreement.
Well, that's very right. If you were a brain in a vat, right, and these are just sensations that you've received, that you're hearing that people said these things, or you're reading reports of people saying these things, and maybe like the sort of world that's being fed to you, it seems to you that you're existing in. If that world were to be the case, like the actual, then that would be the correct description. But of course, if you're brain in a vat, then it's not correct, and it's not necessarily reflecting what the actual world is like, so to speak.
But that just seems like we're just looking at the hypothetically possible, but until you have some evidentiary explanation to the contrary of what your seemings have and what you entail with the world around you, why would that be something that I would consider like a possibility in this way?
Well, I think there's reason to acknowledge it's a possibility. There's another question of whether you're like bother thinking about it or consider it as plausible or even take it as something that undermines your everyday knowledge.
Was the Graham Plattner thing maybe, is it the right litmus test to use these accusations which may to override a primary election? I guess that's my
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, so this is a structural difference which matters. One is someone's going to lose an election by vote. The other is you have the majority in the Senate for the Supreme Court, and this is your number one boy who's going to do what you want him to do. So, you see what I'm saying? So one is like, you want to win an election. The other one is you've already won the elections and you have the votes.
Thank you, makes sense.
Well, I thought they did have the.
Me too.
Peter, please.
They did
I thought
have
they.
the majority.
I know, but you know your favorite, Susan Collins. Oh my fucking.
And they literally got the votes.
I know they got it, but I'm saying at the time we had a couple of, I'm very concerned people who were kind of like, I guess, on the fence.
Yeah, right. That woman was always going to vote for him. I knew she was going to vote for him after it meant because she got the vapors. Go back and Google image pictures between Brett Kavanaugh and Susan Collins. The lady had the gushy gush. Go look at the pictures.
I believe you.
I'm joking when I tell that the sex. Go look. She had a crush on him. He's a brilliant, handsome, highly accomplished man who drinks beer and lifts weights with Woogie and keeps a calendar of it.
I get it, but if they didn't try to do something, though, I mean, are they really doing the job if they didn't try to put up a fight? I don't know.
I mean, what was there to fight? They were in the minority. And in fact, the vote was 50 to 49, and I think that includes a couple. Hold on.
What was it?
I think. Hold on, I got the vote. I think.
Well, I'm saying, isn't their job to try to oppose them? I don't know. Especially in a presidency like we had.
One person voted present. Yeah, I mean, you can try to oppose them, but the other side doesn't come over. I mean, everyone knew, for example, the Democrats were going to pass the Inflation Reduction Act. We knew they were, right? Raphael Warnock tried to put an amendment where the $35 for insulin cap for people on Medicaid could be added to everybody. $35, insulin. It's not a lot of people that they couldn't get 10 votes for that. Never made it. That's what I mean by like, maybe I'm just gotta start voting for stuff. The fight is just it's a lot of hustling backwards. It's actually not as bad politics, I think, personally. Nothing comes out of it.
Yeah, I get it, but I think they tried to do the same thing as they did with Justice Thomas. I mean, it was kind of the same outcome, but I feel like they thought they were supposed to do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she was a willing participant, so.
I mean, I don't know. I would just vote for everybody, except the people that have critical, whatever, where they've been charged or something comes out during the vetting process. I just, like, you know, of course, there was a big back and forth today with Cory Booker and Todd Blanche, because this is what Cory Booker does. He rides for AIPAC, allows Rabbi Shmuley to mount him like he's a horse, and has fake viral moments. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's phony. No, in my scheme of you wouldn't even have a, I'm just, yeah, I'm voting for a person, whatever, who cares?
I think Corey just wants to go in the history books for something. That's me. Just wants to be remembered, I believe. Corey.
He is. I mean, he's the first.
He's gonna come up. He don't do anything else. He don't make a spectacle. The filibuster. He gonna come out and have a statement. He gonna do something.
The filibuster. So I didn't mind. See, I like the filibuster because that speaks to the Senate. Like that's what you do. It's politics. So it's a where one talks. But
But do you think his filibuster for that? I think it was for the viral moment, for the history books. Like, I don't think he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do something. I mean, do the longest filibuster in history. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I actually think that, it's fine. That part I don't have an issue with, people did, when Henry Clay did it in 1839, people studied that, that's fine. I think that's what a senator should do. I don't know if you had to break the record or anything, but I'm saying trying to get people in these gotcha moments when you're in the minority in the Senate, they never work out. He was just talking over, I don't know, did you see his back and forth today?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he didn't even just.
Yeah, I get it for the principal. I just don't think he does it for the principal. I don't know. What did he do today with Donald Trump? Can you tell me more?
No, it was Todd Blanche. That's how this started because it knocked the AG nominations today. So I was telling First Lady was asking if he doesn't get nominated, what happens? So this is a reset. I said, well, I'm not nominated. If he doesn't get confirmed, what happens is, what happens is if Donald Trump wants him to be the Attorney General, he remains the acting Attorney General.
Exactly. I don't mean
it. Doesn't, so I'll just vote for the guy. And then as a condition of voting for the guy, I'm like, look, we're going to do some rigorous oversight and impeach and remove motherfucker. But he's going to be the Attorney General either way if Donald Trump wants to be the Attorney General anyway. So, I don't know. The Kavanaugh thing, that whole thing was so, I don't know. All that could have been avoided if Hillary Clinton won. But people rather get mad at the Kavanaugh nomination and the fact that Hillary Clinton, that they were wrong about thinking Hillary Clinton would win, and so they didn't have to vote for her. Shout out to Eddie Glaude. I don't know. That's just my own personal view. I mean, I've thought it through. That's where I am. Maybe people can disagree. I'd be happy to have a debate. No more than 10 minutes. And if I was a Republican, I would do the same. I'd vote for, like I said, that's the one thing I respected Lindsey Graham for until he went crazy after COVID. He voted for every Supreme Court nominee. It didn't matter if it was a Democrat or a Republican. Every single one he voted for.
Until the black one.
Yeah, by that point, it was, the Senate was crazy. It's so crazy now. It's so crazy. The only one they came together over was Marco Rubio. He was 99-0 because their homeboy. I would have voted for RFK. I know people are like, oh, you voted for RFK. I'd have voted for RFK. He'd have been out by April, March. I would have voted for RFK. I would have told him. I would have said, look, I'm going to vote to confirm you. Then I would have spent all my time on the floor, and if I was in the requisite committees, laying out how much of a cuckoo bird he is.
think they care?
And how it's going to lead to.
You think they care? Cause they see it now, and he's still there.
No, you're not. You're conflating like what's happening with like in my ideal world. I'm not.
Okay, okay.
It's a normative claim. Like if there was 100 of me in the Senate, is what I'm saying. It's like crazy institutionalism.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. If I was I'd want him out. He's been terrible. We got a poop epidemic. We bought a bunch of salad greens. Anybody in this house eating them salad greens? People shitting all through here. I ain't eating that shit. It's going right in the trash.
Somebody said they're trying to lose about 15 pounds, so they might.
See, that's actually not a bad idea, but you just don't want to get extreme dehydrated because I saw 100 people ended up in the hospital. All right, my segment's over. Does anybody else have a take they would like to give in politics and governments? And then we can take questions. It's kind of a fun format, but I'm pretty sure none of you do because you haven't thought of anything besides what you're going to order from Uber Eats tonight, whether or not it's a 3-cent video or a solo video.
Can I answer some questions?
Yeah, go ahead, Peter. You got a question?
Go ahead, Peter.
Leon's got. Go ahead.
About the stories of Mullah inside Iran, about how we fought the society and the bankruptcy and how they sold everything and used the country like the rug. This is the smallest kind of description that I can give. They used the country like the rug, like nothing remains afterwards. And like what they did to the nature, what they did.
Did he just do a huh on us?
Sorry, I'm going to continue to radio, but I can't stop.
He just did a huh on us, y'all. Oh my God. Peter been hanging out with us too much.
No, he been over on that other side. You know which side. I think the problem the Mullah's been 47 years of digging pussy content.
I would say I am a norms and institutions loving liberal, but you have taken it to new heights, man. So I do appreciate that.
Can this room tolerate a moment of silence for our dearly departed Mr. Lindsey Graham?
No.
I wasn't asking you, Bonnie.
Oh my God, don't respond.
I wasn't asking you neither, woman.
What about Charlie Kirk? What about Charlie Kirk?
Why do you guys?
Oh, Lindsey Graham.
Why do you guys come into cool rooms and do things like asking for a moment of silence for someone none of us knew, and somebody who died 4 days ago?
This is the first time I've seen it. This is the first time I've seen it.
Well, it doesn't matter. Well, do it with your friends.
I've already done that with my friends.
I'll answer the question. I'll just answer the question. Hold on, Peter. No, the room cannot tolerate it. So go ahead. What's your point? No, we're not doing a moment of silence.
Okay, I've already done one for him in my mind, but we can give him a second of silence. Okay, and I just want to say I think it was a great loss because even though, you know, he probably doesn't agree with many of the people in this room, I think he offered a good counterbalance to how we run government in this country. I thought he was a strong voice for the conservative values there. So he will be missed.
Okay. Anybody? Any other comments on anything?
Earlier it sounded like you were saying something like the House should be able to impeach people or veto things, something along those lines.
Well, no. What I was saying is that the rising consent part through the Senate, that it only goes through the Senate, and I think that we should have more of the House involved, and the only place where they're involved is in impeachment and oversight. And so I was saying in the model that I was proposing, I'm letting people through, but at the House needs to be rigorous in their oversight. So I'm just saying we should have more oversight. That's what I'm saying. Now it's all pro forma. Like, if the person's in your party, you ask them, like, oh, do you believe America's a great country? Oh, how many push-ups can you do? Have you seen that? When the guy asked Hexa how many push-ups he did? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that, but I've seen various throwaway kind
And do you know
of
what his answer was?
10 or it was 10.
47. 47. 3 sets of 47 or something like that. You want to know why?
Why?
Because Trump's the 47th president. I mean, you people are a cult.
My goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's ridiculous. That kind of questioning is absurd.
Oh,
His answer is good. His answer is good.
What happened? I missed it. What happened?
It was a long time ago. It was, you know, people don't take oversight seriously or the nomination process seriously because it's in their party, and it's exactly what the founders didn't want to happen, which is the part in the Feds I read. So like, oh, well, welcome, Mr. Did you do push-ups this morning? Yeah, how many did you do? I did 3 sets of 47 or something like that. And of course he did 47, but now from the 47th president. These people want to call. Ridiculous.
47 push-ups? Really?
I'm trying to imagine like Thomas Jefferson being, confirmed by the Senate. Mr. Jefferson, yes, Senator Calhoun. How many push-ups did you do this moment? 1. Why did you do 1? Because George Washington's the first. I'm like, what? This is so stupid. These are adults.
Yeah, but that's
This
sales.
country is in the States.
That's just sales culture. That's just sales culture, you know. And Pete Hegseth and I think the whole Trump organization has this very salesy, very like business guy kind of mentality. So
I'm not saying what it is or what it isn't.
you're just
You're
saying
telling
it's
me
dumb.
what it is doesn't.
You're just saying it's dumb. Okay.
Right, and I know what it is, and it's so dumb. I'm talking about it in relationship to the institution. Like, I don't need you to explain what the dumb thing is. We know what it is. It's dumb. Does anyone else have a hot take they would like to defend? This is a fun format.
I have a question. So in this world where people are more willing to just vote through appointments by the party in power, what do you do to incentivize? Oh, sorry, Jason.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'll come right back.
No worries. What do you do to incentivize the usage of impeachment and make people more use that in egregious cases?
One second. I was both eating. And I started pooping and peeing. Hold on, I need
No, just poured a pan of water in the sink, okay? It's nothing like that. It's just a pan of water.
Oh, okay. It really
that I poured in the sink. I'm just cleaning up my kitchen sink.
No, it's all good. And the way you said,
I'm
sorry, it did sound like you had peed on your hand, too.
But I'm very sorry. No,
No, you're fine, brother.
We was washing things in the tub.
Well, one, I hadn't really thought that through because there's 100 of me in the Senate. I'm using myself as the median senator. But one way to begin to establish a culture of real oversight and impeachment, really the only way to do it. Well, there's 2 ways. There's 2 things you need. This is going to sound weird to some, but one, you can pay people more money in Congress. I can break that down. And 2, you need to start impeaching more people. I think it needs to become normative. I mean, not something not normative. It needs to become more of a habit, more habitual. I think it's the only way to get people used to it. There's no way you can tell me, from the George W. Bush administration in particular, more people should not have been impeached.
See, I have an interesting take on this. Like, I think if the House wants to register its disapproval with something, there's a resolution for that. I think impeachment, and maybe I'm probably in the minority here, but I think it shouldn't be used unless you can guarantee a conviction, only because it was supposed to be the most severe punishment. It was supposed to amount to like political exile, basically, if you were convicted. And it seems like if it's overly used and you don't get a conviction in the Senate because the person's party just won't do it, then it kind of makes impeachment cheap. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but from what I recall in the Federalist Papers and the arguments about impeachment, they did intend it to be a super severe punishment. And so it seems to me that should only be used when you know you're going to get a conviction. Because otherwise, it simply is a extra measure of disapproval of the House, which resolutions can work as disapproval measures. I mean, they're not as severe, obviously, right? Which is why we use impeachment. But I think that for presidents, on cabinet secretaries, I agree with you. You know, use impeachment. If you don't get a conviction, fine. It's a register that the cabinet secretary is bad. Like that seems okay to me. But for presidents, it doesn't seem like you should use impeachment unless you can get a conviction. And I include the Bill Clinton impeachment, even though I was a tiny child when that happened.
My observation is that the United States is due for that type of culture of much more severe oversight. It has been sweeping everywhere across the world on corruption and on educational issues like plagiarism quite severely. The United States for now has skipped that somehow.
Yeah, it sounds like Bon is not talking about impeaching a president.
I wasn't.
Solely, principally.
I wasn't
He's
talking about presidents at all.
Yeah. He's talking about, Marshall, he's talking about impeaching various officers, maybe presidential appointees and so on. By being like, more or less like, look, you can put them in. That's how the institution works. You get to put in the people that you want. And we can take them out. And we're going to do it. And that's maybe, where now you start to see a give and take, right? It's kind of, that does have very much a balance of powers feel to it. Like one guy can put him in, but other guys can take him out if they want. And that's interesting.
That was well put, Jason. That was well put. Like, you can put him in, we can take him out. Yeah, I think that was well put. That was a good summary. Let me respond to neoliberal. America is, for a country that is culturally and socially built off of the most obvious yet hidden Calvinism outside of the Netherlands, it's insane how we do not have structures and modalities of punishment anymore. Nobody gets punished for anything. Everybody gets away with everything. This is going to sound slightly bizarre, so I'll mute up after this. But I'm going to say it. One of the best things that has happened in American culture in a long time is the offsides. It's got to be offsides. In a long time.
Is offside?
Is Messi was offside. They put a flag up. That happened in a long time. Was Harvard capping? Oh, it wasn't offsides. What am I saying? It wasn't offsides at all. It was Harvard University.
I was talking about you.
Capping. Okay, let me help you out. Capping the number of A's that they'll give out in a class. This is exactly the direction in which people need to be punished. People need to be sanctioned. People need to not be rewarded for failure and mediocrity. And in politics, people need to be removed from office. And so this is just, I was giving my view based off the nomination process today. I was saying that if I were a senator, I would vote for Todd Blanche. I see no reason not to vote for Todd Blanche because he's going to be the attorney general anyway. Trump wants him to be. So what is the point of voting for him, voting against him, unless you're trying to get a viral moment to put on your campaign website?
For
That's
a
the
second
genesis of the
there,
conversation.
for a second there, I thought you were going to say Claudine Gay resignation due to allegation of
No, that she got caught up in another thing.
Can I disagree with you about that?
Yeah, do you think?
By the way, I think the best thing that happened today was the Pete Hegseth testosterone speech, which is one of my all-time favorites. I'm sure you've discussed it. I wasn't here, but
We haven't yet.
yeah. You haven't? Oh my. Well, that's something I think we should talk about. However, I think that, and this is okay. I think most of the senators are completely stupid about this. They do a terrible job. I don't understand. It's pretty easy to impeach people. I'm not impeached in the sense of get them out of office, but to sort of make them look stupid and point out their lies. So it's unfortunate we have a group of people on all sides, who are just incapable of doing that. But I do think that establishing a record, particularly with someone like Todd Blanche, is important because he has been censured by a judge. It has been sent to disciplinary proceedings. He did do something, and I know you think I'm always, leaving the law too much or whatever, but he did do something that was so outside the bounds of what's legal to me, this whole lawsuit, that I think you should be making these records, and if the record includes you voting against it, that's fine, right? But that presupposes that you're good at what you do. And most of these guys are just, they're buffoons when they ask the questions. So you need to have better questions asked, and then you can say, look, I can't vote for you because you did something that violated legal ethics in a way that is so extraordinary that I don't think you should be Attorney General. And that seems to be fair, and you're then establishing a record that will continue if you do get ever to impeachment. But
Yes.
It's up to
yes? Wait. Yes? Are you going to go back to the rhyme of the
No,
ancient mariner now?
I wasn't saying yes to you. I was saying yes to someone else. So
okay.
I'm fine. So what? I don't know when you got here. I would do all the things that you said to do, and I would still vote yes, because I believe fundamentally. First of all, I don't know what legal ethics are. I don't know what that's something that you people have made up in your own personal institutions and think that applies to government. And so therefore the New York Bar Association sends a letter saying that he shouldn't be confirmed. Of course the New York Bar says there's a bunch of liberals who don't like Trump like that is depth of the day.
There are
The New York Bar Association. So nobody cares. Well, let me just make my point. Let me make my point. I think the Attorney General doesn't have to be an attorney. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that. Let me think somebody. The My Pillow guy could be the Attorney General. Now, he couldn't do the job, but you don't have to be an attorney. I know this is the one that, because y'all really think this is special. I don't want to go. I don't want to. So the propaganda in this country from within among attorneys, they swear they are the special group. Let me just keep going. Anyway, I will bet that. But anyway, this is my argument. Let the president have his people to do his thing. That's all.
So then you would
why
say
you
that.
have an advise and consent?
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah,
like
why have
you're
a confirmation?
I've gone through this, so I need to get, so you guys want me to get the argument.
I was the first person to ask the question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question.
No, that was earlier on. Then maybe people went here.
I've said it many times, so I'll do the quick version. I think that if you read the Constitution, which I have, and the requisite Federalist Papers, which I have in this room, and then you were in the room, it's not doing the thing that they thought it was doing, and it's a pretty weak and feckless clause and justification. It's really not a thing. I think that I know many of y'all think because it's in the Constitution it like means something. There's lots of stuff in the Constitution. I don't know why people They got like certain things that if buys a consent clause, that's it. You know, that's all it is. It's really just those words. I just think it's silly. I think if the president gets elected, the president should be able to put in his people to carry out his aims at the executive branch.
Wait, what is the it? What do you think is silly?
That senators should. Ooh.
Okay.
1-0. That senators should be able to tell presidents who their underlings are. So I use the example from.
So you think it shouldn't exist at all? Anyway?
Example from football. No, I do think it does. I mean, so the head coach, new head coach for the New York Giants, John Harbaugh. Why should the Tisch and Mara family tell Harbaugh who his offensive and defensive coordinators should be? I'm running a football program. I have a philosophy of how I want to play the game. I want to play the game running a stretch, run scheme, play action, a Shanahan style with a little bit of Kubiak in there. Shout out to Arian Foster and Matt Schaub. Here comes the owner. Well, what I actually like is I want us to run a smash mouth off tackle, bring back the counter tray of the Redskins of the 1980s and early 90s. Doesn't work. I think the president should be able to pick his or her people in that branch. Here's the kicker. And this is why it's really stupid. Todd Blanche is going to be the AG regardless of the votes.
Right, but that's what I'm asking. So do you think the whole process should even be done of them going to the Senate to be confirmed, is what I'm asking.
You were in here when I went through this. I've been talking for 2 hours.
Well, you know I was at work at some point, so some of it I didn't hear.
That's fair. So it's important because what I would do is I would do a full hearing. I would say this is where I think you're not qualified to do the job. I think you're going to fail. And in 5 months, I'll be voting against your removal. I'm going to vote for you to get in. I think you should lay out all the objections that you have for the person and show it. So one, it has a political value and also an anticipatory value. So I think the process to lay it out, that's also where criminality and corruption. So I'm not saying everybody, like Matt Gaetz should not have been confirmed. What happened to Matt Gaetz, if he went to the Senate, obviously I would have voted against, I like Matt Gaetz. But I would have voted for Kristi Noem. Want to tell you why? Because that's, what a tackle. Oh, England is playing inspired football. Donald Trump. Donald Trump picked her to run DHS. He has an idea for what he wants his DHS to be run like. He should be able to pick the person to carry that idea through. And it was a disaster. The lady should have been impeached and removed in July. She may go to prison if she doesn't get a pardon from Trump, because that money stuff is fishy, but I don't want to go to specific. I'm just making a normative claim. I think it's insane to me that senators get to tell somebody how he gets to do his job and the people he gets to use his job for. So what I was saying was, I would vote for everybody, as long as they're not criminals, crypto, all that stuff. I vote for everybody for cabinet officials. Everybody. And probably everybody for Supreme Court, too. Because I'm a Democrat, small d. And I believe that was the will of the people. Done speaking.
So what about the context of, no, I hear your point, because I kind of, but then again, I think of the context of the balance of powers, and you heard within the branch, but now you're saying also even in the Supreme Court, which crosses into the judicial branch. In that sense, why do you, in the context of where, you know, it's not a football, the football analogy works to a certain point because, it's not public life, these people don't represent us. But in the context of government, where these people are making decisions that are going to have consequence, I can see why many would say that whoever a president appoints should go through this process, and because of the balance of powers. I didn't really hear you address that aspect.
Yeah, the court one is trickier, but as long as the person's qualified for the court, which Brett Kavanaugh. But let me back up. Does anybody here believe Brett Kavanaugh is not qualified to be? I'll use him as an example. He's the most controversial. Does anybody? Oh, Missy! No. Does anyone here believe that Brett Kavanaugh is not qualified to be a Supreme Court justice based off his qualifications?
Qualifications, he's overqualified, but if he's guilty of what he's been accused of.
No, stop. Just stay there. Just stop there. Just stop there. He's just qualified. No one's overqualified for the Supreme Court. That's great. Well, to be fair, maybe John Jay was, but I don't want to get into that. Does anybody believe that he is not qualified? No. So I'm voting for him. Does anybody here believe that Ketanji Brown Jackson or Sonia Sotomayor or Kagan are not qualified for the Supreme Court based on what they did? No. So I'm voting for him. The only one I have problem with in my lifetime is the Comey Barrett one. And it has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with it was 2 weeks before an election and people were already voting. That one to me is still nasty. But otherwise, Donald Trump won the election. I mean, he won.
What about what they did to the guy at the end of Obama's term? What's his name again? Merrick Garland.
Yeah, I thought that was horrendous. I thought what the Republicans did was absolutely deplorable. I think Obama should have been able to pick. They should have at least had a vote. At least they should have voted on him. Maybe they didn't go for it. I would have voted for him. Like, that's my thing. This is what Kimberly calls extreme institutionalism. I believe we've attenuated, I believe rank politics has attenuated the institutions so badly that they're not functional. And the reason why they're not functional is because people are voting against people, one, who are going to be confirmed anyway, and two, can still serve as acting. Isn't that crazy? After all this, Todd Blanche can still be the Attorney General, and yet you're going to get 45 to 47 Democrats vote against him. Why?
Politics.
Exactly.
No, it's not. Okay. Can I disagree? Okay, I want to disagree again.
Of course.
That makes sense in a world where the Senate and the House actually have some gumption and would do something. But as we know, getting an impeachment actually voted upon, not the impeachment process, but convicted, is almost an impossibility these days. So nothing's going to happen to these people, and so you have to take a stand at some point. It seems to me, and at that the advising consent is just as good as anywhere else.
Oh, so you may have missed the point where I said the Senate is composed of 100 of me and the House is composed of 435. I'm speaking only at a normative ideal.
Oh, you're as if you were everyone. Well, we all do think you are everyone, so I guess that makes sense.
That's fair. But I'm just saying, like, we need to get back to that. Like, what was the point of voting against? I gave a good example from the Inflation Reduction Act. So you have this reconciliation process, and the Democrats added that the people on Medicare, they capped the insulin at $35 a month, and they can do that with just a simple majority because Medicare, is part of the rules. It goes to the bird bath and all that. And so Raphael Warnock had a thing saying, "Hey, look, let's do it for everybody. It's $35 for everybody." He couldn't get 10 Republicans to vote for that. That's the most insane thing I've ever seen. Why would you vote against capping insulin at $35 out-of-pocket costs for diabetics?
Because they got to do the addendum. Did they add any addendum?
No. It was the addendum. Stop always trying to find ways out.
I asked a question. I'm not trying to find a way out. It was a question.
Oh, I thought you said because they added. I thought you said because they added crazy addendums.
Oh, no, I asked.
No. It was the amendment. I'm sorry. I thought you said they did. I was like, they didn't add anything. But they got 7 votes, I believe. You couldn't find 10 Republicans? Of course not. Why? Because it was Joe Biden.
Did you say it was an addendum? What was it an addendum to? What was it an amendment to?
It was the Inflation Reduction Act.
Oh, well, so they weren't against, if it was a line item, if they were just going to vote on that as a standalone, I'm sure they would all be for it, but because it was attached to, you just said it was part of the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yes, so it would have been included in the thing that passed anyway. So they knew it was going to pass, and they could still vote against it. But in the passing of it during the, what's it called? something Orama, Votorama or whatever. I think that's what people call it at the time. They said, hey, we have this thing for $35. We're putting it in. We're going to pass it. Let's do it for everybody. And they couldn't get 10 Republicans to go for that. Utterly insane. It is broken. Broken.
That's why you have a president like Trump who's pushing to do things at the executive level as much as possible. Because, as you say, Congress is broken.
But you can't do it at the executive level. So that doesn't do anything. That's a waste. And he doesn't, I mean, I'll be honest with you, he's really bad at working with Congress. He didn't sign the housing bill, which became law anyway.
I know, but what it does is it's what you call virtue signaling to his base.
Everything has to be a defense of individuals.
It's an explanation.
And we're talking about stuff at a normative level.
I don't understand what you mean by that.
Oh my God. Should be. Just go ahead, neoliberal. Everything is about defending Donald Trump. It's all about defending Donald Trump.
I wasn't agreeing with this virtue signaling. It's an explanation.
We get it. We get it.
We need you to explain it.
Okay, then why did you get it? Why did they get so riled up?
Because we're having a better conversation. We need you to explain it. We know politics more than you do.
You don't know what I know.
Okay, so explain why Donald Trump didn't sign the housing bill. Enlighten us.
Because he wanted the SAVE Act to go through first.
Really?
And, yes, and when he...
Wait, that's why Donald Trump didn't sign it?
Yep, he said that he...
Nobody in here had any idea. Are you serious? Donald Trump said he wasn't going to sign any other bills until the SAVE Act goes through?
Well,
we had no clue. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Wait a minute.
But you didn't say that you didn't make...
Hold on. Donald Trump didn't... Wait a minute. What is the SAVE Act?
But the conversation isn't just for you. There's people in the audience who know much less than me or you. So when I make those
but we're not talking about that.
it provides proper
not talking about that.
I know, but it provides proper
You are conflict seeking.
No, I'm not. Whatever you can think I am.
It doesn't add context because you missed it. It's not context because it becomes law anyway. So in a conversation about institutions and institutionalism, you telling me why he did a thing, which everybody here knows since we talked about it in this room, I don't know, for about 3 months. Because he first said that thing with the SAVE Act about 3 months ago. We listened to the speeches. We know more than you do about it. You're not adding context because we're talking about
people in the room who may not know about that.
Let me ask you a question. Well, then put it in the chat. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, now I have to put
Did
it
it
in
become
the
law?
chat. I didn't know
Did it
there were
become
so
law
many
anyway?
rules.
Did it become law anyway?
Yes, but there's so many rules.
So
The
the
rules you have in here are more arcane than the rules in Congress.
At an institute, that's not true. At
Now
an
I have to put
institutional
things
level,
in the chat. That's very arcane.
Calm down. It's not arcane.
Yes, it is.
Arcane? No. Wrong word. Sorry.
I will use the word arcane to make my point.
Go ahead,
which
Neil.
is, it's these random rules. Oh, put it in the chat. Don't say nothing.
Infinity. I'm going to
This
try
is a
to.
throwaway line. Come on, bro. We're having a convo. Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, I think we were looking at medicine, and my observation is, and I think we talked about it previously, that while the founding fathers were against factionalism, and I guess you were reading that, I wasn't here.
Barry was 79.
Yes.
Advising consent.
Yeah, tried to move away from it. It kind of has a return of a repressed quality to it. Because in parliamentary system and in Britain, it is happening today, right? At least when there is a new PM, right, their own party can do the internal politics on what the cabinet is going to look like. And there is shadow ministers, etc., for cabinet positions, and at most they would be asked questions, but there isn't a confirmation process like that, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and the United States was supposed to be on factionalism better than the British, and somehow it is the complete opposite today. It's just strange. But I agree with you. I think on a normative level, why, if they have a mandate, let them elect, let them create the cabinet that they want.
Yeah, I don't. It's strange. So a president wins has a vision for the country, but more importantly, a vision for the security of the country and, enforcing the laws, which they teach us in middle school, which he's supposed to do. But then he's not allowed to put his people in place to do it. Totally strange stuff. Like, totally strange stuff. Where is the part that advising consent requires a vote? And it must be in the Senate package. I guess consent always means vote in the Constitution. Does anybody know this? Okay. So anyway, yeah, the institutions are broken. The guy withholds signing a bill with massive majorities. Strangely, more Democrats voted for the bill than Republicans. I don't know what Republicans are doing. The Republicans clearly want to lose the midterms. And it just becomes law anyway. Like, they're intentionally breaking the institution. My solution fixes the institution. Just let everybody become everything unless they are criminals.
Yeah, you're talking about using the process
what was criminal about that?
Manfinity. You're talking about using the process for transparency, basically accountability, right? Like, he has to show everyone who his picks are. They have to answer some questions. If they are grossly inappropriate, they have, this allows, they're in the mob, they've been, dealing drugs, they've, raped women for the past 10 years or something. If they have a bunch of crimes or even just one serious crime, and it comes forward, okay, then don't let them in. But otherwise, we're just talking about it's part of a broader process, and it's a process that builds a base in accountability and transparency.
Yes, I think that's exactly right. And the problem with the qualified and unqualified thing is that is very subjective. So while I might think Pete Hegseth is unqualified, others might think he's qualified. I mean, we've had Supreme Court justices who weren't lawyers in the past. Do you need to be a lawyer to be the head of the DOJ? I don't think so. Tara probably thinks so. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the qualifications are things.
No, I don't think so. It's not required. It's not
okay,
required.
that's fair. Okay, not you, but maybe ABCD. I was just thinking some overeducated attorney in the room. It could be anybody, but I'm sure people do. I'm sure, like, the people off of the whatever liberal podcast Melissa Morgan's on. I'm sure they think so. So-and-so thinks he's qualified. There's a bunch of liberals in their institutions coming up with their own definitions of what qualified is. Qualified is whatever the man who's in charge, the woman in charge thinks. Liberals got to get out. Liberals got to get back into the real world. Start playing hardball. When President Ossoff becomes president, he should nominate E40, the head of the Labor Department, and Suge Knight to be the head of DOJ, and dare him to vote against them. Anyway, that's my segment. You guys can do whatever you want. What do you think?
I agree with you. People should be able to put whoever they want around them to get their agenda done.
Not criminals, not if you rape a
But
child.
like when Kennedy appointed his brother, I'm sure they thought that was nepotism as Attorney General back in 1960. But other people thought he was the most qualified, probably. I wasn't around back then, but I'm sure that was very controversial at the time.
Well, what about for operational competency? What did you want? So I understand anybody can, be plugged into the position, but shouldn't we be optimizing for operational competency?
What do you mean by that?
Wait, what?
What do you mean by operational competency?
Well,
That you know what you're doing?
There's an answer though in Ban's idea, because Ban is really indexing more on a balance of powers strategy, where he's saying they can put anybody in, And if there's a problem with their operational competency, that's not something we can only solve one time when we put them in. Actually, we just take them out. We get them out of there.
I got it. Okay, that makes sense.
And see, in this my schema, I think it makes, how can I say it? I think the bitter partisan 52-48 votes makes people less likely to get rid of their homeboys. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, we have to fight to get them up. I'm gonna be honest. If Pete Hegseth was George W. Bush, say it wasn't Pete Hegseth in terms of what he did, but he was this bad at being the defense secretary, or whatever you call it, that war secretary, defense secretary, and he had been confirmed by like 99-1. I actually think the president, strangely, would be more likely to remove him. There's a thing about these like partisan battles that just makes people dig in. But I don't know. I could be wrong. This is an idea I have while reading about Rome. So you got to do your thing.
Yeah, it's almost like after we vote in the president, then he goes through like some congressional process to get approved. You know, people voted. That's what they want. So now his agenda and people come with him. You wouldn't put Trump on a congressional advising consent after he's been elected by the people, right?
Yeah. I mean, and anybody, Biden, Obama, like all presidents, like that's what I think is so refreshing about this thing. And I said before the room started, to Lindsey Graham's credit, this was the one thing I respected about Lindsey Graham. He voted until Ketanji Brown Jackson, when everybody went crazy. He voted for every single nominee, Democrat or Republican.
But what did he do with Ketanji Brown again? Why did he not vote for her?
I don't know. He went crazy. I think it was post-Kavanaugh, post-COVID. He got real partisan. I don't know. It actually, I think she should have voted for it too, because she was going to be nominated anyway. I went and confirmed anyway. But this is what I said. I would have voted for Kavanaugh. I would have voted for Gorsuch. Like I said, I'll say it for the fifth time. The only one I probably would have had an issue with was Coney Barrett. And that's not for her. It's just because of the timing. That's all.
I remember at the Kavanaugh hearing, Graham said, and when you get up to the Supreme Court, because you will, I want you to say hello to Sotomayor and Kagan, because I voted for them.
Yeah.
That was a fiery speech.
Democrats let them give that speech because they acted like a fucking rank fool. It's the stupidest moment.
What did that woman, Diane Carroll, what's it, Diane Carroll?
Diane Feinstein?
Diane Feinstein. Didn't she do something like she got something in the mail?
It's crazy.
I'm sorry, I just saw something.
No relation, by the way, for those
you saw her singing. You saw her singing with Sammy Davis Jr., wasn't it?
How do you know?
Because it went viral. It's beautiful. I saw it too.
I didn't know she even had a voice like that.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, she's a perfect woman. Most perfect woman can sing.
Beautiful, beautiful.
What's your favorite Sammy Davis song?
That's a great question.
No, it's that one where he talks about ding-a-ling. Or was that? No, that was Chuck Berry.
How about My Way?
Hold up. Flag on the play. That is a yellow card.
Don't tell me I'm behind. You're talking about something we said.
But Diane Feinstein, I forgot. She had an opportunity. She went and hired. I don't want to rehash that, but it was very corrupt what they did to Calvin.
Well, I don't know if it was corrupt. I wouldn't use the word corrupt. It was something, but I wouldn't say corrupt. Nobody was.
What was the word?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
There was a planned attack.
At the time.
A planned attack is corrupt.
Disingenuous, all that kind of stuff. Government corruption's a different thing. We got to stop using words. Anyway, I don't care. Y'all use corrupt for everything.
You could say it was a dirty move.
Yeah. I mean, if that was corrupt, what is the president's sons getting billion-dollar contracts from the Defense Department? Like, that's corrupt.
Yeah, I agree with that. Corruption is a very amorphous term.
No, I like what Van is saying here. Yeah, corruption is something, and stupid, ineffective, non-effective, it's something else.
Yeah, it's something else.
What needs to rise to the level of corruption? What's the scope for corrupt?
Enrichment.
Enrichment, yeah. It usually has a financial implication.
So financial enrichment. So the political enrichment of taking out Kavanaugh is not a form of enrichment?
No, that's just politics.
Yeah. That's a blood sport.
Yeah. But it was bad. It was bad. It was bad politics. I mean, I actually think that was before Biden died in office. Shout out to his ghostwritten book with an auto pen. Maybe it was a pen like in Harry Potter. You know, it just writes on its own. Before that moment, I thought the Kavanaugh moment was the lowest moment of the institutional Democratic response to all of that. It was so stupid. Even the feminists like Kimberly Foster agrees.
You know what? You know what senator I really enjoy listening to? Senator John Kennedy out of Louisiana. He's
hilarious.
20. Anyways, listen to this. He got a book. I guess you can call him funny, but I didn't know he went to Oxford. I didn't know he had such
That's why he's phony. And he has a fake accent.
Yeah, he has this fake accent like he's a man of the people and he's like a really well-educated, wealthy guy. It's really...
Wait a minute, he grew up in a very rural part of Louisiana, so I don't know if that's fake. I think he can turn it on and off, but I don't know that it's fake, because he grew up very rural. But anyways, I'm listening to the audio.
So is that how he spoke? So that's how he spoke at Oxford?
I don't know how he spoke, I wasn't there.
Well, when he was a Democrat and was winning as a Democrat in Louisiana, I can tell you how he spoke because we have clips of him speaking.
And if you turn it on, isn't that just fake? I don't know, because I can talk like this, but then I can switch it up in a second. Yeah, you're faking. I'm myself.
I think they call it
fake. This is a different version of me. It's called mirroring. You ever heard of mirroring? That's
so when he mocks overeducated, latte drinking, highly educated institutional liberals who talk a certain way, that's not fake, even though that's who he was.
No, because he's still connected. He's still grounded. Those people have lost their grounding. So you can still.
Okay, how is he grounded as a multi-millionaire U.S. senator, but the rest of us will go to college who are regular people not grounded? So just break down how he's grounded. What do you know about Joe Kennedy?
Well, I'm listening to it's not Joe, it's John
Kennedy.
I mean John Kennedy.
John N. Kennedy.
That was Joe Kennedy's father, JFK.
The bootlegger.
But go ahead, explain how you know he's grounded, though.
Well, that's the sense I get. I'm listening to his audiobook, which is hilarious, by the way.
But how do you know he's grounded?
So I don't know him personally, but this is the sense I get because, for instance, he doesn't bow to the altar of intellect. He recognizes that Mr. Kennedy.
Why don't you think he does? What in his record suggests he does?
So I was listening to it. So he didn't enjoy law school. I mean, just the autobiography just explains.
So one second. I just have a question. So evidence for you for not bowing to intellect is whether or not you enjoyed law school?
No. You don't take that out of context. What I'm saying is there was a context around that. He didn't like being in those circles with these people these hoity-toity people who think they know it all.
Which is why he stayed in those circles, because he didn't like it.
Where did he go to law school?
He went to law school. He ended up going to
the University. Did he go to UVA?
Yeah. And then he went on to Oxford, but not because he enjoyed Oxford.
Stop. He didn't want to, Ben. He was forced.
Let's go through his. Let's just go through. Let's go through. Where did he go to college?
He went to college at I think it was at Louisiana.
He went to Vanderbilt.
No. Before that was Louisiana Tech. Something Louisiana.
He went to Vanderbilt.
Before that it was Louisiana Tech.
Oh, why did he transfer?
This is what he said. He enjoyed being in challenging environments. So the reason why he liked being challenged intellectually, but he doesn't bow to the altar of intellect, meaning he doesn't, just because they say it, it's true.
He doesn't like
One second. I'm not seeing anything online that he went to Louisiana Tech for undergrad.
Okay.
Where can I find that?
I was just
No. Well, then he's lying in his autobiography if he said it, because he went high school valedictorian, went directly into Vanderbilt.
Or your Google search is mistaken. That's another possibility.
It's not.
No, it's actually.
The valedictorian of his high school went to Louisiana Tech?
Valedictorian? I didn't say
He
that.
was valedictorian of his high school.
Valedictorian of his high school.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm confusing it. Is that the high school? Tech? Something with
No,
tech.
it was Zachary High School, it wasn't
All
Tech.
right, let me just,
All right.
let me, so you're calling, hold on, let's go through, let's just go through. So you claim that, he didn't bow at the altar of intellect and he didn't like being around those people. So he was valedictorian of his high school. He then went on to go to Vanderbilt, which is the second most elite college in the American South, and I would argue top 20 of the elite colleges in America. Easily, probably 18, 19, right? Right around there, right around 20. He majored in, I'm just reading from his biography here, philosophy, political science, and economics. And he graduated magna cum laude. He then was elected senior class president and named to Phi Beta Kappa. I want to stop right there. You said he does not bow to the altar of the intellect, and he, what was the other thing? He didn't like being in those circles? That was the original point, right?
He can be in that world, but not of it.
He doesn't like latte. I think
I got you. Let's keep going. He then, after that, he then went to University of Virginia Law School, which is a T4 at the time, would have been a T14. I don't know if it still is.
It still is right now, but
It still is.
changes,
It's a T14 law school. So he's in the world, but not of it. His bona fides are he's like academic dude. Let's keep going. He then decided after UVA, he hated that world and being in and of that world so much that he would, while he was there, he was the editor of the Virginia Law Review, which is their law journal. He then, while he was there, he was elected to Order of the Coif, which is the big honor society in law school. I'm just reading his bio. He then decided that he disliked it so much and he didn't want to be in it so much. He then decided to go get a Bachelor of Civil Law at Magdalen College at Oxford, where he studied under the great Rupert Cross and J.H.C. Moss. This man is so bathed in academia, he makes me jealous.
Yeah, but he infiltrated it as a regular person, similar to what I did.
How?
I have.
But, and two, Zoran specifically ran on using the long arm of the government to create environments for New York landlords that are so unprofitable through the taxation power of the government that they would be forced to turn over the property to the government. And he wants to run the property as a government institution.
Well, that's why I'm one of his biggest donors.
Yeah, isn't that with the apartment buildings divisive? He came out with those statements on taking over apartment buildings that are in poorer areas from the actual investors and landlords.
Yeah.
Just taking them and then putting them in like an NGO. Remember, it was something like that.
What?
That he came out.
Do you ever think why they don't do something like reasonable, like when you have a certain amount of like serious violations? And an owner, like whatever corporation or entity owns it, then comes up for review to see if they're like slumlords, and then it gets like sold to somebody who might actually take care of it. I feel like that would be an actual useful thing to do, and like doable. All this other shit is just
I don't know, but I did promise Daniel that we would go back to him as soon as direct respect to kids. Hey, Daniel, go ahead, please.
So if I was to ask Abby's question with a different word, where has communism ever worked? I don't think we could find one true example. When we talk about socialism, there's an argument to be made that America has had a layer of socialism since the New Deal. And I think that Bernie rightfully calls himself a socialist, a democratic socialist. I don't think he's a danger to the American way. Some people might think so, that's fine. But clearly he's not up to like take over private property. I do not stand with a lot of his stances, but I think that he speaks for a lot of young people, that old man, and the people who follow him, that say that there can be a fair, more just, systemic way of handling the growth of capital so that more people enjoy it. That's not necessarily changing the whole capital system.
These are just platitudes. And the argument about whether or not we're moving into a pure socialism versus socialism light or inspired by socialism is not the interesting question. The interesting question is if we are moving directionally toward socialism. And the government has proven over and over and over again that it is a bad custodian, it is a bad steward of our money. It does not deserve to be made larger and more powerful and siphon more wealth away from the private system, which made this country rich and powerful in the first place. It's as simple as that.
Do you think it should know how to pay its own bills without having to borrow money?
Yeah, if I were in charge, yes.
Well, then we would have some agreement.
Could I get back into this conversation? I didn't run away. Coincidentally, it's funny that at that time, well, I'll just tell you that within 2 weeks, 2 air conditioners blew in my apartment. And I found the greatest guy to put it in. He happens to come from Russia to escape communism. And second one blew, second air conditioner blew, and I had to get in touch with him. And coincidentally, I said to him, by the way, I know you came from a commie. He's a great guy to talk to. He's an engineer and all that. He's brilliant. Did a fantastic job on my air conditioner. So I said to him, what does socialism mean to you? I know what it means to me. I know what it doesn't mean to me. But what does it mean to you? And he said to me quickly, he said, it's the interim step to communism. And you have to think about that. That is the correct answer. So is, and I think communism, or how it's being used now, and socialism too, is the interim step to Islamism. And I think that's where Mandami isn't a socialist, he isn't a communist, he's an Islamist. And they're using the Democratic Party to take over and to get to that direction. That's how I feel. All right, continue, guys. You guys are very interesting.
I think the ultimate mark of socialism, right? I mean, an expanded safety net is not socialism, right? You could have a vigorous capitalist economy like Scandinavian countries do. In fact, in some ways, they're more deregulated than we are economically, but they have massive safety nets. That's not a socialism. Is the state owning the means of production?
That's right.
And that is what Trump is zealously doing, right? With the U.S. Steel merger and with Intel. I mean, I think Trump has a socialist bent to him, right? He likes the government having control of private corporations, right? I think Trump ultimately has some socialist sympathies. I'm not saying that as a criticism. I'm just saying I think Trump has a socialist temper.
I'm putting stuff in the chat on what the DSA has been publishing, including getting a new constitution. I just thought I'd share that.
I mean, this is where Trump and the DSA kind of line up on the government owning companies. I think
he hasn't called for a new constitution, Scott.
He has not. I don't think Trump read the first constitution.
He doesn't care about a constitution. That's the difference.
Well, you may think that. Some of us would debate and
he's taking
we disagree with you.
Well, that's right.
But we're sitting in the U.S., Daniel, you're sitting in Canada. I mean,
yeah, he is.
And so, for those of us, and by the way, great USA.
You can always tell, Scott, when you hear somebody attack my Canadianness.
No, I'm just saying, I'm sitting in the birthplace of it.
Have you noticed that?
I'm sitting in the birthplace of it. Thank you. Which everyone is walking around shouting USA, USA. By the way, it's been beautiful. Can I just give a shout out to the United States, because the last couple days,
I love it.
with baseball in Philly and having the All-Star game on our 250th anniversary, it's been phenomenal. Democrats and Republicans together walking around wearing red, white, and blue
lost the World Cup. A shame they lost the World Cup.
Walking around,
Even after the mob
walking
boss
around wearing
called
red,
FIFA
white, and
to make
blue,
a deal.
both National League and American
Called
League,
FIFA to make
coming
a deal.
together, all shouting USA, USA in a huge stadium, and walking around the streets of the birthplace of America in red, white, and blue in the last few days has just been a wonderful sight to see, and it's great when you see that in America, and here it is in the birthplace where it all happened 250 years later, and the whole country just coming in to, I don't know what the viewership was in the last few days of the Home Run Derby or the All-Star Game, but it's great to see all kinds of Americans, D's and R's together, shouting USA. There you
That's
go.
our national pastime, and it's beautiful.
Beautiful,
You're
and
right.
I'm at a quiet moment, but a shout out here to the United States and how great it is to see that.
And the biggest shout out to the MVP of the All-Star game with the Yankees.
Yeah, all right, I wasn't gonna go there, Jules, but.
But, you know, you gotta be frightening. You gotta be frightened what the DSA is putting out. They're eliminating the Constitution, Congress, the presidency. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And
It's not serious. It's not a serious platform, right?
Well, no, what do you mean it's not serious? It's the DSA
I mean,
platform.
they may be serious about it, but it's not as serious. You know, it's not.
It's not serious. It's serious to them.
Yeah,
That's where their mindset. How come anything I say about Trump, and I have criticism about him, but anything I say good, he's not serious. You know?
No, I'm not saying the DSA are insincere. I'm not saying they're insincere. I'm saying the platform is not serious.
Cut and paste their platform and the article about it from the City Journal and just put in the chat when you get a chance to read it.
Oh, I've looked at the DSA's platform.
And you see the City Journal article.
I mean, for the benefit of the room and people who are driving and
Oh, divisive, you're gonna make me do that. You sound so much better when you speak, but.
You have a beautiful speaking voice.
The City Journal did an expose on them and just broke down the concept of workers deserve more, which they're saying rebooted the platform for featuring a host of radical proposals, and it's basic, you know, it's the takeover of property. I mean, I can go through the list of this.
They're against innovators. They're against the great innovators of America. You know how many millionaires Elon Musk made? His janitor became a multi-millionaire because he paid him partly in stock. So, come on.
Oh my God.
The abolition of the Electoral College. We can go with that. The establishment of public ownership and the largest corporations and the essential and all essential industries to ensure that it's public control. So, I mean, defunding the Department of War, close overseas bases, end all economic sanctions, which would include those in states like Iran and Cuba.
Let me know when your podcast is done, Abby. Thanks.
I'm reading the City Journal article, which I was asked to read. You can like it or not, but I'm reading.
Just wondering if other people are allowed to speak who have different opinions.
It's not my opinion. Would you like to be
She asked herself.
Excuse me. What would you like to read the platform? Go ahead.
I'd like to ask you a question, Abby, if I could.
Sure.
So you were just saying a moment ago. Yeah. So you're a sports fan. Sure, let's go there. You're a huge sports fan. So in the interest of integrity and ethics, let me guess, you fully condone and agree with the president literally like being a John Gotti mob boss and calling the head of FIFA to insist that a player be reinstated? Do you think that's ethical in the name of sports and fairness?
Can you move him down until you're done?
The John Gotti mob boss. What do you know about the mob, the moose? I know more about the mob than you know about the mob.
Answer the question.
I live in Las Vegas, babe. Can we tell you about the mob and how they built my
answer the question.
So,
Just
what do you
answer the
think,
question.
Jules? Do you think that
is that okay?
people in
Is that
Vegas
okay
think
that the president of the United States
better
called
when it
FIFA?
had the mob
Daniel,
there?
do you see how they do this?
Now that
They
it
just
doesn't.
ignore it.
just with
My
respect
God,
to that.
Abby, forget the
However,
just answer the question.
problem is,
Answer the question.
I'm not a soccer fan. I'm a baseball fan. So, and I'm ice hockey, which Daniel and I can
Picks of
argue about the ice
sports.
hockey if you'd like to hear us go back and forth on that. So I really can't comment on
If you
soccer.
okay, so
But
if you
maybe
called on hockey,
Jebediah
would
and I
that be
will talk
okay?
about football and how the Cowgirls are doing this year, Jebediah. So
Would that
should
be
we talk
okay?
about
Would
that?
that be okay if you called baseball? Called the head of the commissioner of baseball? Pick a sport. I don't
What do
care.
you know
Is
about
that okay?
baseball, Moose? What do you know about baseball?
My God, Daniel, are you hearing this? This is incredible. Even for you, this is
It's
remarkable.
remarkable. Really remarkable. I don't know anything about soccer.
So a simple question. You're an educated, very intelligent woman.
Why'd you say that this is John Gotti?
Do you worship the Messiah that much? It was a joke for a little
John
hyperbole.
Gotti? Jebediah,
People
what do you
use
What do you want me to do
hyperbole
here,
to
Abby?
make
You
a
want this
point.
guy taken down? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
What's being ridiculous?
Well, you're an asshole. I mean, just
Daniel, would you like to comment?
I'm being an asshole because I'm asking about if you think it's okay the president calls FIFA.
And do you have some of
Jebediah,
this?
do you want to answer? Do you want to answer?
I'm glad he called FIFA. What the hell? I mean, he didn't win. We didn't win. We got karma out. So, fuck that.
Oh,
I gotta go in Gary's room. Sorry, guys.
I gotta go too.
Yeah, we have to do Gary's room. We have to shut this down. It's starting.
Okay.
undocumented immigrants is subject to removal. So that's pretty much, I guess, where we are on this issue. People are dying, not in large numbers, but people are dying or being wounded as a result of immigration enforcement in the country. And the manner in which immigration enforcement is being conducted today was in large measure a change that was in response to public outcry over the way that was being done before, and perhaps with the exception of those in the communities that are affected by the immigration enforcement,